No, I can't remember.
Don't let me have to come around here because I'll rap you. I will not rap her.
It's not Andrew, it's dead, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's DMX.
Unless you want to change the news.
So, how's your week?
It was good. You know, my days are always hectic. You know, I live long days, but I find pleasure in it. It is my life, and I enjoy it. But usually long days. But thank God they're good. At least I have something to do. There are persons who don't have anything to do now, so I'm thankful.
I want to reach out to my friend in St. Vincent, to Pat. I want to reach out to Pat.
Is Pat the one who came for the opening of
Yeah, your friend.
celebration?
Yeah.
Yes. Hi Pat, morning.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach. Oh, she. Hold on. You were able to say hi to her. Hold on a second. You can say hi to her now. She'll hear you.
Hi Pat, good morning. This is Robert.
Oh, Robert, hi,
Yeah.
how are you?
I am good. I am good. How are you keeping in St. Vincent?
I'm not too good right now. I have an allergy to the ash,
Oh
so
no.
I'm not good. And
Yeah, you need to turn down that thing in the background. Turn down that computer. Turn it off and then talk to us, and then you turn it back up again just now when you finished. Because you'll hear that
no,
repeat, right? Good.
thought it was there because I'm listening one thing and looking at another thing. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Sorry,
So-
my voice is not too good this morning.
All right. So how are you?
Well, not too well. I don't have a voice, as you can hear. I have an allergy to the ash, and about different emotional things. Kind of have my voice gone. So, but it's not good. It's not good.
Explain
But
that
we
to
are
us.
working on it.
Explain that statement, Pat. It's not good. What do you mean by that?
It's not good, meaning that well, the condition is in business, you could well recognize after the eruption, and fortunately or unfortunately for our people, I know people would ask fortunately, but yes, I say that because of some issues that are going on, but and it's so first birthday today, and it belched again a little while ago. But in terms of conditions, like in the shelters and so, we don't expect roses, but we had expected that there would have been some planning and proper organization for this, seeing that we knew about it so long. But be that as it may, persons are trying to cope, and we're just right now hoping for the best. So,
Make sure you keep water close to you at all times.
well, I have, well, I got some drinking water last night, but I was out yesterday, but I got some last night, so yeah, I'll do that. Water again is a problem for us, so um, we're coping, we're coping.
Well, I do know, Pat, that there has been some efforts from Grenada to get some water to St. Vincent. I know there are groups and organizations that have taken the opportunity to send some water. There was a boat that left here. Was it Sunday?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it came
so
in yesterday and uploaded. Yeah, the water from Grenada came in, and we're so very grateful,
okay,
because at that point, it was real needed.
okay. I also know that there are some other. I'm part of an organization that are working on some other efforts to ensure that we can send some more water to St. Vincent. And it's everything is not happening at the same. Well, everything can't happen at the same time. But keep in mind that we are trying on our end here as well.
Yeah, we're very grateful, and the Caribbean as a whole, has really pulled together to help us, and we're so very grateful and thankful, for their efforts, and we hope and pray, despite things that happen, that they will continue to help us, and that they would continue to open their doors to us for us to come in. And we're hoping that persons who need to evacuate overseas will be given a chance to evacuate overseas. I have to go.
Yeah.
Okay,
understand. We
I
understand.
have to.
Yeah.
It's really tough for our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent and Andre. And I'm not just speaking regional brothers and sisters. I actually have a blood brother over there as well. And very early in the game, when there was this demarcation, red zone, green zone, and so, because quite frankly now there's probably just one zone in St. Vincent because everybody's affected. And he was showing me outside of his house that he said, "Boy, look, I'm way down in the south, and look, outside is there's all this dust and whatever else," and he was kind of like not expecting that. Well, the truth is, outside of my house, a couple of days after, I was looking like what he was showing me. It is tough, but thankfully, as you heard from Pat, there is some regional efforts, or there are some regional efforts to ensure that our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent get some of the assistance they need, especially water. Yes, there's a list of, and maybe a long list of other necessities, but water is absolutely necessary at this time. We do know that their water supplies are all contaminated, obviously, because of the volcano and the ash that is spewing all over the place. So they really do need water. And I'm reaching out to all other organizations and so everybody in Grenada who can, please, let's try and help. Let's try and continue to help, because as you heard Pat confirm, there were some efforts to send water over to St. Vincent, and it has gotten there. I do know that there's a truck that was actually sent, a tanker, was sent to St. Vincent. I was told so yesterday, and I actually saw it in the news last night, the truck being loaded onto the boat. So the whole truck was loaded onto the boat full of water for distribution when it gets to St. Vincent. I thought that too was very good. But it is a moment, we all have our struggles. A couple of years ago, we had our situation here at Hurricane Ivan, and we got very good assistance from not just St. Vincent, but the rest of the region and the rest of the world. And so we expect that we'll return the favor. We all live in challenging times, we know that, but whatever we can give to St. Vincent, please let's do, because they are our brothers and sisters.
It's kind of nice to have you this morning. Outside of why you're here, but you're here. And the feelings of the sister really broke my heart and left me, as Michael Jackson would say, speechless.
Yeah, I am.
It's one thing to know that something is happening, but it's another thing to have it placed right at your foot. When there's someone that you relate to on a daily basis, and now that person cannot even have a conversation with you, and that hurts.
I could understand where you're coming from. It was loud and clear in her voice. It is. Put it this way: people are displaced. As she indicated, they are in shelters, and being in a shelter is never like being home.
No.
Right? Even under the best of conditions. All this amount of people around, and the dynamics of the crowd and that sort of thing, the whole preparations that goes with food, and who gets what in terms of the quality of food, and there's just the issue of how do you deal with the mass accommodation of persons. Mm-hmm. So even at the best possible response, it is still not the ideal thing, and of course people remember that, and some people would do what it takes to ensure that they go through it with the best of attitudes and so. But when it is tough and difficult, sometimes it brings out the emotions. So we do have the issue of the relocation, the reason why, as the volcanic eruption. But when conditions at the shelters are not as good as they can be, and I'm not knocking anybody. She neither was knocking anybody, but it's just, I guess, how quickly events unfolded. And she is feeling the toughness of it. And that sometimes it can be empty, it can be lonely, Andrew, even if you're among a crowd. As I say, the dynamics of this whole existence is tough, man. And our hearts go out to Pat. Pat, I know you might still be listening.
She is.
You are with us in spirit. And we'll continue keeping you in our thoughts and in our prayers, as we do for all of St. Vincent who are going through this at this time.
Well, Clay says, "Hey, hi Pat. Please try and hang in there in this tough situation. My heart breaks to hear the emotions in your voice." And I think when all this is said and done, Bobby, the sound of that voice breaking, the sound, the knowledge that a conversation has come to an end because someone could not face it because of emotion, is going to be, I think it sets the trend, or it is the hallmark for a conversation in Real FM now about what is taking place in St. Vincent. In that moment there, in that moment encapsulated everything that's happening in St. Vincent with the knowledge. And not that I know St. Vincent inside out, been there once or twice, but now I know it inside out. But Pat lives in Kaliakwa, which is in the green zone. She's not in the yellow, not in the orange, not in the red. She lives in the green zone. And so try to understand. Here's somebody living in the zone that they call green, which is supposed to be the best place to live at this time, if there is a best place. So she's not like displaced from her home or anything. But understand, she also said, yesterday I was without water and I got some last night. You understand that? And that is so very important.
You see, water is so essential, and that's why I indicated that despite the list of other items that are requested, water. Whatever we can do to ensure that our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent can be the recipients of water. Because you wake up in the morning, the first thing you may want to do is to refresh your mouth after a night of sleep and the work of the bacteria and so while you're asleep. And it might be just a small cup of water, but if you don't have it, you don't have it. I'm not even talking yet about getting thirsty and wanting to make breakfast. I'm not talking just at least for personal hygiene. So you want to brush your mouth or brush your teeth. You want to maybe do some washing up, and it don't have to be a big bucket. But even at that time, you get to realize how important even just a small quantity of water will be, and good clean water, not just water, just good clean water. And so. St. Vincent, this is your period. Just remember, remain strong, remain resilient. This too shall pass.
I just like to make it a personal appeal, Robert, to not to our folks to buy water and send to the people of St. Vincent. I'm not going to make that appeal. I'm going to say to the companies that bottle water, here's what. This is a need. Do not look at this as an opportunity to make monies. And I'm going straight up. Do not look at an opportunity to make monies. Here's what you can do. Let us pay what is the cost price. What it will cost you to produce a bottle of water. Let us pay that. And I'd like to see the water companies. I'm not going to name you for fear of leaving out one, but I'd like to see the water companies come forward and say, or hear them come forward and say, okay, fine, Grenada, it cost us $1 to produce a bottle of water. So therefore, this is what you're going to pay for that water to send off to St. Vincent.
I don't know that they need to do it exactly like that, because of course some of those things are information that you may want to keep under your belt, especially when it comes to competitors and how they may respond. But what you can easily say is that you're giving the water at a concessionary rate.
Or give it all.
Right.
Or let us pay. Okay, here's a bit on, Robert. We will pay for the bottles.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, we pay for the bottles.
But let me say this, and again, I do know that there was one water company that would have assisted by giving donations, and some water was purchased from them, and they assisted by giving some. I don't know the quantity. I can't remember. Well, I don't know. Not that I can't remember. I don't know the quantity, but I am reliably informed that they made a significant donation as well of water. So there are companies who are rising to the occasion. Now, of course, it can be a one-off something, because the bottle of water you sent last Sunday, it probably
That's gone already.
Yeah, so water is a necessity.
That continues.
Daily
And we are the
necessity.
closest, basically.
That's correct.
Yeah, because we're even closer than Barbados, aren't we?
Yes.
Right.
It should be. Yes,
Yeah,
I think so.
Because we're PD Martiniquez.
Well, clearly.
We're the
clearly,
closest.
At least
Yeah.
less than 20 minutes away. From Carriacou to Union is about 20 minutes,
20
I
minutes.
think. Yeah, by boat.
With those kind of boats.
Yeah, so we are the closest. Because Union is a
Right, we're the closest. Now the other thing is, and I always try to bring a little smile into the thing. So all you that does bring go for the ganja, bring water now. Gotta have a laugh. Come on, you can't be all serious.
yeah, it's
Instead of going up with an empty boat for ganja,
Yeah.
go up with a full boat of water.
and come down with what you go for. Otherwise,
I ain't saying come down with what you go for, but I mean, I'm not going to encourage the trade.
but at least the leg that allows the water to go.
Yes. Let's set up the water. Okay. Oh boy. Here's a laugh now. I'm going to give you a good bit of information and give you a laugh from Pat, because she still has the sense of humor. But here's this. She says she's hosting a family of 5, so her water depleted quickly. And my 400-gallon tank got contaminated by ash. Oh, shucks. Well, use that in toilet only. It is not that I don't store enough water. Okay, fine. Because she lives alone, but she's hosting a family of 5 now.
Yeah.
All right. But this is the part that is laugh. All ganja gone. So she still has a sense of, and she spells gone, Goneeee.
Yeah.
So it's gone. Yeah. Pat, it's good to know you still have that sense of humor, girlfriend. It's really good to know.
Well, it is one of the things that would keep you, Pat, during this period, the ability to still find something to laugh at. And laughter has this way of enlightening you and lifting your spirits and helping to deal with this difficult situation. So, of course, you can't go around just laughing. That too, people will kind of question, Pat gone off, the pressure big Pat gone off.
It would, I'm gonna put this one straight at you. Laughing will bring it back to you many years ago. So why are them laughing? All of them just laughing. So and I going through this.
Yeah.
Right back to you. Careful the words you use. But Robert, the information, I don't know what happened. It got contaminated. But I want to start with this morning, because we're talking insurance. Stan said that he couldn't make it. He got called up for an interview for a meeting this morning. So he's not able to make it. He sent that to me last night.
Well, we understand.
Yeah, we understand, Stan. Right. Now, the other thing is that, Robert, let's start not on our shows. Insurance. St. Vincent You may not be able to speak because you don't know the dynamics, but should something like this happen here, knock on wood, they say, what happens, Bobby?
Well, for one, there'll be a multiplicity of claims. And but before there are claims, let's first speak to who can claim. You have to first have an arrangement with an insurance company to be able to make a claim. So if you do not have an insurance, meaning that we're speaking property now because it's property damage. If your home is not insured, if your business is not insured, then you can't have a conversation with any company.
You just left out in the wind.
Where you're left out in the wind, yes. So it is important that people, before there's a major catastrophe, before there is a theft in your home, before you realize that there's probably a problem with the foundation, you have to insure before all of that. Because if you wait till then it's too late.
So I couldn't go and buy insurance for my home in St. Vincent now?
No, as a matter of fact, not even, I guess, the insurance companies closed to business because of the whole issue of the closure of the place. But even if there are companies that can still open, the risk is happening. In short, you can't come home and see your house on fire and say, oh Lord, let me call Robert. Because the house on fire. No, it's too late then. The risk is already happening. Right? So you first have to ensure in good times that you get your properties properly insured. And while you can insure your homes and the businesses, I'm talking about the infrastructure now, the real estate side of things, while you can insure that against the loss of fire and in this case earthquake and the damages occasioned therefrom, but there's for businesses, there can, or rather there should also be, you can insure against business interruption. Now, sometimes things happen like this. You're out of commission for a while. You have staff who still expect their pay at the end of the month, but you probably might not be in a position to earn any income because things are down and your business is not making money. But you don't want to lose your staff. You don't want them to decide, well, eventually I have to go, especially if you might be down for a considerable amount of time. You could insure against that. There's a product called business interruption, that folks can get. Of course, you can tailor design it. It's not just a one broad brush that you sweep everybody with, but you tailor design to suit your needs. And if you do that in times like this, then you don't have to worry too much because you'd have put the necessary protection mechanisms in place to ensure that the cost associated with you not being able to operate, the downtime or the lack of earnings, can actually be replaced by the insurance product that you would have purchased.
So there is a product you can purchase for situations like this.
It's called business interruption. Right? So when Hurricane Ivan passed and some businesses were down, I remember there's one hotel in the south who the proprietors understand well the risk associated with their kind of business, their location and all of that. And they made sure that they had proper thing. They were down for a couple of months and folks got paid and other things got organized, and so because they put the house in order before. That's the key. Before.
But what might be that might be expensive.
Expense is a consideration. Okay. It costs you what? And the best of times, $3,000 something to go to England, right? It costs you probably $1,000 to go to Trinidad. Would you say going to England is expensive? The distance where you have to travel to, the length of time you're taking, the type of plane you need to have to make that trip is probably not the same thing as going to Trinidad. So Trinidad is less costly than going to England. But would you say going to England is expensive? I don't think it is. That's what it costs. The point I'm making here is...
Please, make the point.
The point I'm making here is that, yes, costs may vary, but in relation to what you're protecting, there's a cost for it, and everything comes at a price. I don't say any insurance is expensive. Because, for example, it doesn't cost you $10 million to protect $10 million. So it's not expensive.
Probably cost you $1 million.
Maybe less. It should be less. Way less. I mean, different companies may have different pricing and so the issue is not to establish pricing, but to establish the fact that what it costs is way less than the benefit that it provides. And typically, that's how all insurance is priced. If you buy $1 million life insurance policy, it doesn't cost you $1 million, right? So it is way lower in cost than the benefit that it guarantees.
Ryan says good morning. I'm just not
Morning,
with
sir.
it. I don't know if you recognize
No,
that.
I know.
I've been thrown off my reel at this particular
It
point
is
in time.
it is a tough morning. It's
Yeah.
not just a morning. It has been a tough couple of days, couple of weeks.
I knew it was happening. I knew it happening, but I mean, we got the ash and everything. And I'm like, okay, fine, yeah. But hearing her, it's just like it slammed the goal home.
It's
And now you find yourself, or now I find myself asking, what can I do?
well, there's a lot that you can do,
But you see,
and sometimes doing little can go a long way.
But you see, the other thing is, Bobby, is you want to donate, but do you donate collectively or do you donate individually? Because if you donate collectively, it does not mean that what you are sending is going to get to anybody that you want to donate to individually.
And that's
And
correct.
that is where the problem is, because we would like to send Pat as much water as we can send, meaning Real FM, because she's like an integral part. Well, not like, she is an integral part. And I'm sure we have friends. Oh, there you go. Claire has just stated, hey, Pat, is there anything I can do to help? Just holler. So through us, we can, we can do things, but does it get to her? How can we ensure that is not, that is the disturbing part.
Well, put it this way: there are persons who are responsible, both at a national level and other levels. Right? I know the Rotary clubs of Grenada, for example, they send water to St. Vincent, and I know
Individually or
no,
collectively?
the water was, because of Rotary's network, we were able to send to our Rotary partners in St. Vincent. They will handle the distribution on the ground, right?
Are you sending water again?
Yes, we plan to.
Do you think that Rotary can ensure that if we send a package, put it that way, and we say, Rotary, can you ensure that this we give them a telephone number and whatever, can you ensure that this gets to that person? Do you think that might be able, can you make that happen for us?
I could ask. And
You could ask.
I could make an effort.
Great.
You see, the thing is, the initial response, you wouldn't want.
Yeah,
You wouldn't want.
No,
You just send,
you send water.
You just send water.
But
Right?
like no, you can
you
plan.
can- you can
and
probably
even if
know.
it costs something to send it, then we'll be willing to do that. And we got not just Pat. It's like we stuck with the peas. We got pest. Pest. Like in pestilence, like in pest. Pest is another listener of ours in St. Vincent.
Oh, Pest is actually somebody's name. I thought it was a nickname.
No,
Pest.
his name is.
Is that he?
Yeah, Llewellyn. Llewellyn. What's his last name? Llewellyn, whatever.
So where Pest came from? That's a nickname.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he's called Pest.
Okay, well, so it's
Yeah.
like Grenada, but everybody has.
Yeah. And I did ask Pat to check out because they both know each other. They don't live in the same area, but they both know each other. They met.
Okay.
Because of us, they met. So I did ask Pat to check on him, and she sent me a message yesterday stating that he was all right. But of course, water again is essential. So if I get the water to her, more than likely she will be able to get some of it to him, and that kind of thing. Because those are the two listeners that we are in touch with in relation to St. Vincent. I see you're into your phone already. Yeah. What is interesting, what is nice about this morning's program, friends, and this is what you need to understand. It tells you that Real FM is real. Yes, Robert is here on Tuesdays to talk insurance, and we did speak a little bit, and we're going to speak a little bit again. However, what is important to know, what is important to understand, we don't stick to it rigidly. we deal with situations as they come to hand. You know, and this morning to me, it is just all about St. Vincent.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine, Andrew. That's fine because, I remember, and again, I must relate to Hurricane Ivan. That in my years of living in Grenada, that is the national experience, the national tragedy, or probably the only national tragedy. Well, not really. October 1983 was a tragedy in itself too, but Hurricane Ivan stands out as the one where we really needed to get that kind of assistance from outside, based on the extent of the damage and so to the place. And I remember there was a radio station in Barbados that was the go-to radio station for information and it just to connect. Who's alive? Who did you see John? Is John alive? Is John's house okay? And I remember those days. We couldn't do it ourselves because we did not have the capacity. The place was all damaged, and our brothers from Barbados became our voice in this period. The communication between persons on the outside and the diaspora and all of that. So there are times when the boom swing or the boat is on the other foot, that we need to shoulder that responsibility in the same way as other persons shouldered it when we had our period of difficulty. And for that reason, I am happy to come here. And even if we say the initial intention is to speak insurance, and yes, it may come up again and come up in the context of how it applies to St. Vincent,
and which is important.
Which is important.
Very important.
But this is about reaching out to our brothers. I mean, I have a blood brother in St. Vincent, right?
Here's this, and this again, it really speaks to the kind of person that Pat is, Robert. I want you to read that statement. That statement. Hello, are you there?
I'm actually trying to see.
Oh yeah, that statement there, which she's just sent us on WhatsApp, the one right down at the bottom. Read it. Read it loud.
Okay.
We were talking about water. I was sending water to her. What is she saying there?
You want me to read this?
Yeah, read it. I want you to read it. Read what's there.
Okay. Now, Pat is admonishing to give to Rotary. There is so much to say, but now is not the time.
So she's saying here,
give to Rotary.
Give it to Rotary. So what will happen, Robert? We'll stay in conversation, and then we will, meaning Real FM, will make a donation to Rotary, and Rotary will then procure the water. Correct?
Yeah.
So even in her time of need, and she's saying, "Yo, don't bother, just give it to Rotary."
There seems to be evidence that once you give it to Rotary, the rest will fall in line.
It speaks a lot for Rotary here.
Yeah.
It speaks a lot for Rotary here. Maybe Pat is in line for how do you call this thing, Robert? Queen's Honors List. But now she used the word ganja. So no good on Queen's Honors List for you, madam. It's Realist 91.9, 91.5, www.therealfmgrenada.com. 7 minutes now. Excuse me. After the 8 o'clock hour. Robbie, here's another question coming out of that whole thing. St. Vincent, the mainland. That is where the volcano is. Now, miles away from the mainland, you have the Grenadines. How is the insurance affected by this, with the knowledge that the hurricane is not on their island? Can you answer that one?
Yeah, man, that's easy.
Yeah,
that's easy. They will be affected to the extent that the claims experience, and I'm speaking of claims global, national, let's say national claims experience, to the extent that it impacts or causes the companies to review their pricing. It may not, but it can. But to the extent that it does, then the other islands that form the Vincentian chain islands will also be affected. Why? Because Rates would be a consideration of the business, the volume of business, the block of business. And St. Vincent on its own as an island is not enough to the business that you would have in St. Vincent is not enough to determine the price. You would need. As a matter of fact, put it this way. When we speak about the rates and so, you may find that even something that happens up all the way in Florida could affect us down here. Because when you look at the entire Caribbean, our block of business is not as
We're not South America.
no, not you see, we are a lot of small islands with a few 100,000 people here, 1 million here. Jamaica is probably the biggest, 2.6 million, and so on. That's not a lot of people really. And the cost of doing business in this region, because again of all these multiple islands with not as much people, sometimes makes it difficult. But so as a result, to create economies of scale and to make sure that the pricing structure is one that is affordable and still makes sense to do business here, we are banded and looped with Florida and other places by the US. That as a whole region.
Robert,
Right?
does that mean that there's a possibility in the next insurance cycle, one meaning Grenadians may see, because of the eruption of La Soufrière, Grenadians may see an increase in their rates?
And the answer is yes. In pretty much the same way as Vincentians may have seen an increase in their rates after Hurricane Ivan. But as I said, may is the operative word, because when you look at the claims experience, it probably may not influence premiums in any significant way, but it can.
That is news for a lot of people, but it's not so good news, yeah?
Well, I tell you see, we are in this to make insurance work. You need one. How do I say this? You need all hands on deck. Insurance works where all of us who are exposed to a particular situation or risk, conscious of that exposure, we say let's do something about it. So you go to that organization that says, you know what, if you have the risk that you're worried about, if it happens, we're gonna be there for you. And we give us a little money, we do this for you. And to make this work, the whole book of business is spread among people who are of similar exposure. Right? Now this is like, let's look at the concept of the ants. The ant gives us a really good example of how insurance works, because so I sit down eating, all right, and a grain of rice fall from a plate, and all of a sudden an ant realizes that, hey, there's food here, boy. But that ant, try as it may, cannot raise that grain of rice. It cannot handle that movement of that grain of rice by itself. So does the ant sit down there and starve? No. The ant take out his speed and he go and get 35 of your brothers. And they come and they each bite onto they latch onto that grain of rice. And they go down with it like Kira and the shrimps.
They're gone.
So now what was an insurmountable task becomes now an easy feat, because everybody bought in. That's how insurance works.
So are you saying here in a nutshell, Bobby, that if many more Grenadians were to do things like property insurance, it will be less, the cost may be less?
That is correct, because of course there's more revenue coming in, and companies on that basis can now look at reviewing pricing structure, and so because there's more revenue to work with. There's more exposure, but to get around that, what does the company do? They reinsure, right? Because no company in Grenada, no company maybe in the world, could easily pay all of the risks that they take on. They can't. But what do? They go to the reinsurance companies all right, and they engage in what we call reinsurance treaties, and essentially the reinsurers say, okay, we'll support you here to the tune of X, to the tune of Y. So if you have a claim, we'll be there. So if you find that, same again the concept with the Anthony Grenell Rice. Because of that, you have the backing and the support from companies outside it who are buying into your book of business, or you're actually what we call seeding to them the risk that you actually go to everybody here and absorb, and that makes it possible for this to work.
John Dumont?
Yes, I do.
He's a listener.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
I've heard so before.
Yeah, he's a
and
listener.
I verily believe.
Yeah, he's listening now, but he's showing off.
He's showing up.
Yeah, showing up.
What John said,
John sent me a document. I opened the document, and it's a document from the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning, and Information Technology. Now, when I saw that, I instantly thought Grenada. But something said, Andre, look at this thing carefully. I look again, and I realized that it is the crest of St. Vincent Grenadines. So it's a Vincentian document to confirm that. I look for the telephone number that starts with not 473, 784.
Yeah.
So I know. But here's what, as of the 12th, which was yesterday, and it's entitled Duty-Free Concessions Dash Relief Supplies. Please be advised that until further notice, Cabinet has granted approval for 100% waiver of import duties, VAT, excise duties, customs service charge, and a bottle levy on all relief supplies imported into the state from friendly governments, international organizations, charitable bodies, other entities, and individuals, and consigned to the following: the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, the SVG Red Cross, Lions Club, Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Rotary Club,
Yeah, we expect Rotary.
or any other established religious, charitable, and civic organizations. In addition, in view of the acute shortage of potable water in the country, Cabinet also granted approval for a 100% waiver of all import duties, import duty, VAT, excise duties, customs service charge, and bottle levy on all water imported into the state. Cabinet has also granted approval for a 100% waiver of VAT, import, and other related duties on all barrels with effect from yesterday the 12th until June 30th, 2021.
That's a brilliant move
By the Vincentian
Vincentian government.
Yeah.
Because at this stage, you have to find ways to ensure that basic needs
are met.
are met. And to the extent that you can get assistance from around the region, from friendly governments and other organizations, that will come. But there will also be a time when, or I would say, they cannot rely only on that kind of support. There must come a time when the Vincentians themselves will have to say, okay, how do we start to fend for ourselves in this? Even still, while we're getting legal support, because I do not know that the support that you get will be 100% of your needs. So,
That is true.
So the government is that's a brilliant move.
Brilliant move,
But it also brings to mind, Andre, it brings to mind, it's like a double whammy because, of course, the government in a difficult period is giving up significant revenues.
Yeah.
And we do know that we heard in a newscast recently, the PM, Barry Gonzalez, was saying that there is a strong possibility that they may not be able to, that there may be months, maybe 1 or 2 months, when they may not be able to pay NIS contributions as well as salaries for public servants. On top of that, they have to now turn around and give up earnings and revenue from the different taxes and levies that you mentioned there. And here the list of them: import duties, CEC, and VAT, and all of that. They have to turn around, but it is a necessary move because the existence, the basic necessities of your people is paramount at this time. Water, shelter, that's
and food.
And food.
I must have my laugh with that one too. Nicodemus walking boy.
And you leave it alone.
Like it or not, you can say what you want.
You're going to make her vex with you. Wife under enough stress at this period, leave it alone.
Nigga, he was walking, boy. But he must have a laugh. Come on,
Well, yeah,
you comedians are going to make a field day out of
But
it.
of course,
Yeah?
because laughter
I'm
is
taking the bus. I'm taking the bus. I know Pat is probably cracking up with this one, yeah? Come on, yeah. But it's good. Yeah. It's good. And I have to compliment his cabinet on this bold move and so quickly.
Yes.
And I honestly believe, Robert, that this, while Rotary comes third on the list, I believe that Rotary had a lot to do with this. I believe that Rotary would have gone forward and say, hey, you know what? This is what we want, boss. Come on.
Well, it is possible.
Yeah.
If I know the Rotary Club, but you see, I don't know that the Rotary has a tradition of instructing / advising governments and so. But in instances where there are major catastrophes or issues of national and sometimes international implications, Rotary gets involved. And because Rotary is it's an organization that is very credible. Very credible. You saw the line, they give it to Rotary.
Mm-hmm.
That speaks to the credibility of Rotary. When the Rotarians take on something, they'll get it done. And they'll get it done in the manner that it expects.
I tell you what, I don't think that Pat copyrighted that. Mm-hmm. And that is something that Rotary can embrace. Give it to Rotary. They'll get it done.
That is what it is. As a matter of fact, I think I know.
Give it to Rotary, they'll get it done. You know, I just added that bit there. So, you know, I must have my 2 cents in everything that goes around. But here's one that comes from Depretin. He says, Andre, I would like to take this opportunity to applaud our Superintendent McIntyre, now in St. Vincent, for his clarity and fluency in articulating the current situation there. His expertise in the field of disaster management has grown tremendously. Kudos to him. Well, McIntyre has been up and down the Caribbean, wherever there's a disaster, in recent years, dealing with situations, and one might venture to say he is probably one of the more experienced person in the Caribbean in relation to disaster management. So it is in this vein, I can say, hey, it's no surprise that Sylvan has done that well in St. Vincent as he's doing now. I mean, it's not a surprise to me. If he had done less, that would have been a surprise, you know, in relation to, because Sylvan is somebody who sets very, very high standards for himself. The only problem with myself and Sylvan in St. Vincent, Robert, right now, well, not problem, let me say, the only issue is that he hasn't contacted us. So,
Yeah, no, it must obviously do that.
yeah, well,
It must obviously do that.
obviously do that. Yeah, but nonetheless, we expect Sylvan to do well. And congratulations, not just to him, but we have to say congratulations to the RGPF, the Royal Grenadier Police Force, because that is where he's based. And to NADMA for having that foresight to send Sylvan and say, hey, you have him. He will help you manage. He will help you take care of things and bring things back to a semblance of order in as much as he can from a humanistic point of view.
Yeah.
So kudos to NADMA and kudos to the RGPF. RGPF led by Edwin Martin,
Yeah.
and NADMA, of course, led by my good friend Winston Garvey. Good morning to you, Senator Garvey. Trust that you will have a wonderful day, my friend. Take care of yourselves now.
The poor guy is tired.
Who's that, Garvey?
Yeah.
How you tired? How you know you tired? you tired?
I was by Garway yesterday.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
I almost...
And he tell me, he say, Robert boy, he say, I'm tired. I just feel to go home and sleep. But he didn't say he was going home and sleep.
So where you sleeping?
Well, he couldn't sleep. There was no time for sleeping.
You're sure his wife wants to hear this? He didn't feel to go home and sleep. So where you sleeping?
No. He said he just feels to go home and sleep.
So you say you're not sleeping home?
Well, I
Make up your
did
mind
not-
what
I was
okay.
just repeating what the guy said me, and in the
What did he say?
And in the context,
Yeah, what did he say?
And in the context of his efforts, the relief
What did he say?
situation, he said he's tired. He just feels to go
Yeah,
and
and
sleep.
he feel to go home.
He's tired.
Yeah.
He feels to go home and sleep.
All right, so that means he can't
But-
go home.
But
The-
he did not have the luxury of going home and sleep. No, he couldn't go home.
You can't go home.
No, he can't go home.
Why when you block the damn door?
Morning, say the guy. I know you're under pressure, but you know there are times like these.
You know I was gonna take a punch and say the guy.
I was trying to avoid it, but I realized once I open my mouth.
What's your what you
Oh,
say? That's it. Anyway, but no, I mean he's doing his best, and it's good to have somebody like him at the helm, at this particular time. Because outside of being a person who cares, he's also a man of the cloth.
Yeah.
If you'd speak, but these days a man of the jacket.
Yeah. They make the jacket with cloth.
Yeah, that too. So yeah, he's a man of the cloth. So outside of bringing that humanistic thing, he's bringing that should I say Christian,
Spiritual.
spiritual, better spiritual, sort of a feel to it. And so hey Winston, you go, you do what you got to do, Senator Garvey, and have yourself a pleasant day. And don't forget, in all of this, you feel to sleep, you ain't feel to sleep. I think her name is what, Erilyn? Give her a call and say, hey, girl, I'm here, I'm tired like what, but I will talk to you later. All right. Here is, this one is coming from Tex Us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it says here, the Grenada Houston Association, other Caribbean organization in Houston, are coming together to help the situation in St. Vincent. Ryan will be calling you for a clip on that for our news. Be advised that you will be called for a clipping on that so that we can put in our news today. But it's good to know that, hey, this organization is getting on board. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to speak somebody's business here, Robert, and it's not a good thing, but it's a good thing. I'm speaking to a friend of mine's, but a brother like yourself, not as good as yourself, but like yourself. I ain't twist up now. Okay, not yet.
That's if you continue, you might end up there.
But I'm speaking to a brother, and he has just picked up a job. And sadly his dad passed away a couple of days ago, about a week or so ago. That's Steady Philbert.
Oh
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
He passed.
understand. Yes. My
Right.
sympathies to the family.
Yeah. So the eldest son, Raul.
Raul.
Yeah, Raul and I are always in conversation. So we were chatting a couple of days ago, and he burst out laughing. So I'm like, oh, boy, is a joke now. And he says, you know what I'm thinking? I says, what are you thinking, sir? He says, I'm thinking, me, Raul, from my days in the bush, rowing a boat, barefoot and everything. And I'm thinking, look at me now. I'm in Texas, because that's where he works now, as of a couple of weeks ago. He says, I'm in Texas, and I'm in charge of 6 hospitals. He says, look, you can imagine that? I says, no, I can't imagine. I'm not in charge of 6 hospitals, I can't imagine. What I can imagine is look on your face at this time.
Yeah.
He says, wow. How did I do that? And I'm like, yo, bro, you've done it because you worked hard. You've worked hard as a person. Because, I know him pretty well. We interact. Almost every time I go to New York, he's always there for me. He'll visit me, we'll chat. I went to church with him one day. Yes, so I still go to church, Robert. I did go to church with him one day.
Hey, grandma, we told you to agree.
Yeah.
Andrew, go to church. You need to look at that.
Yes, so I'm just saying this to say that he has picked up this job in Texas, and I have to send Ryan's number to him
so they could communicate.
because he's saying he's mowing in the Dallas area, Ryan. Ryan is in Houston.
Ryan is in Houston.
Yeah, I think Roll is in Dallas. And he's saying, but he says, you must come to Texas. And I says, why is it I must come to Texas? So he says, because he said every time you come to New York, you're accustomed to seeing high-rise building every time you turn. He says, I can't find them.
Texas.
He says,
maybe not where you
yeah, he says not very many of them. He said you must come to Texas. He said the trees planted and you could see the rooftops. But I'm so very proud of him, Robert. And I think, one of these days I'll have an interview with him. If
I was thinking you should.
Yeah, I will have an interview with him and to speak to that achievement, because he was working at the Lincoln Medical Center in the Bronx. That's where he was up until recently. And now he's in Dallas, Texas, in charge of 6 hospitals, right? Basically in charge of 6 hospitals. Could you believe that a Grenadian, and not just born here and leave here little, no, he left here when he's a big man.
Yeah.
And she left there just around the revolution. And he had finished secondary school and everything like that, and he went to New York, and today he is.
He's
what he is.
There are Grenadians right around the world, and stories like this we could hear if we really look for them, or we could find if we look for them, because our people have done well. Our people have the skill and the talent to do a lot when the circumstances present themselves. And this is one case in point. It takes hard work though. Nobody gets there by just twiddling their thumbs. Nobody.
No way.
And I tell you this, even in instances where one would have won the lotto, some significant sum, and in some cases the actual figure doesn't necessarily describe or speak to the significance. The significance is that they have more money now than they had before. To some people, they win at $10,000, and that's a hell of a significant windfall. Some person is a million, and that's a hell of a significant windfall. If they cannot manage, excuse me, they end up with nothing. The point I'm making here is, even managing money when you have this hard work, nobody gets there without hard work. And what we have found is that our people have the potential.
Yeah.
There are Grenadians all over the world.
Look at
in very, very significant positions.
Our very own, and again from St. Patrick, Ryan is I don't even know what to call him,
Ryan is
what's his position?
Ryan is involved in the insurance industry. I know he used to be a compliance officer for one of the top companies. However, he had made some changes in recent times. I can't remember exactly what is it.
But he's listening, so you probably give us your don't make it too long now, Ryan. I know you can go into it, but just give us a little thing there.
Compliance is a big thing, though. And to be a compliance officer for an insurance institution,
you have to be worth your salt, yeah?
Yeah, and maybe your sugar and your onions too. You have to be well seasoned.
Well seasoned, yeah.
But our people do big things. Our people do big things. And I think it's important that we say that, so that even for the youngsters here, and not just youngsters, there are people in Grenada here who are not necessarily young, but they still don't believe. So they go about life and they did not achieve because they don't believe that they can. But we can. We do it. We history is replete with look, you just mentioned Raul, right? Raul has done it.
He's done it. I mean, he's gotten. I don't know what he can do again, because one of the things that
maybe own them 6 hospitals.
Maybe own them, yeah. One of the things that he did say to me is that at the Lincoln Medical Center in the Bronx, he was in charge of training for some between 6 to 12 individuals, responsible for their training. And with the 6 hospital now, he's responsible for what, 50 something of them, I think it is. Yeah, I think that's the figure. I'm not sure on the figure, but the volume has increased considerably. Oh, by the way, here's one here. 2. Which one do you want? The best one first?
Well, give me the first one first and the second one second.
Okay, so the first one is Morning Father and Uncle Robert. That comes from Dania.
Hey, Dania. Morning.
Right. So, and then the second one, current president of the Grenada Houston Association. That is Ryan. Well, we know that, but what we know is that we want your title and your job side, bro. What's wrong with you? We know you're the president. You wouldn't be the president if you're not talking to us like that. Here's something that just came in. Back to insurance again. The premium may increase if claims are made against the insurance companies. It is possible that most claims could fall within the excess under the policy. If this happens, the payout from insurers will be significantly less. Speak about that in English.
What you excess is that amount of that value of claim that an insurance company does not cover. Right? Now, the whole principle or the concept of excess is actually designed to keep premiums down. And when I say premiums, I'm speaking of what you pay to the insurance company. If an insurance company offers you a product where they are always going to absorb 100% of the cost or the expense with respect to the actual claim, then your pricing will be higher. So to make premiums more affordable, there is a principle of the excess. And it simply says that the agreement is of the first 2% of your claims or the first $5,000, sometimes it is expressed as a percentage, right? Or sometimes a fixed dollar value. But it basically says that we will not be responsible for the first 2% of the claim, or we will not be responsible for the first $1,000 of the claim. So what that writer was trying to communicate is that if in St. Vincent, the claims that are brought to the insurance company now are below the value of what your excess is going to be, you may find that payout will not be as much as it may appear on the surface.
So is that a good thing?
It's a good thing to the insurance company. It may not necessarily be a good thing to the insured. Insureds. Yeah. Right.
Okay, so Ryan works for the Transamerica company and is in the customer service department.
Okay.
Right. What else? Here's one. And this, see, these are things that we need to know, Robert. And things like this can cause the people who are not taking the vaccine, and I'm bringing the vaccine into this one now. People who are not taking the vaccine, if they know this, some might take it.
Let's hear it.
One of the top executives in Pfizer distribution department is Grenadian.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that just came in from Cleveroy Deputy. These are things that we need to know.
That's interesting. I
Very
think,
much so.
But it confirms what we've been saying earlier on, that Grenadians
Are everywhere.
I mean, we have done well.
I was telling somebody the other day, Robert, about one that Winston gave me when he went to some country and he smelled babash. He ever gave you that one?
No.
Yes! He gave me that one. He went to, I don't remember the country, for crying out loud, but he smelled babash. And when he did the investigation with the guide who was at him, did the investigation and brought him to the guy was a Grenadian who had stayed there or gotten stranded there, whatever, by whatever means, maybe some boat left him or whatever, but in this far off land.
And he made it home.
Well, yeah, if you make babash, you would make it home anyway. Yeah. So Winston gave me that one. He gave me that one and he gave me the one, this one I wouldn't think, the one about the Eskimo. You ever got that one?
No.
Man, I talking to Winston more than you.
Eskimo.
The Eskimo. About the Eskimo's wife? He never gave me that one?
No.
Oh no! I wonder if I can do it. Yeah, let me give you the edited version. I can give you the edited version. So he went to wherever the Eskimos are, and went to the village, and the custom. So they had dinner and everything, and the custom was that because the Eskimo had so many wives, the chief. So the custom was that the chief would give you one of the wives to sleep with for the night. That's the custom. So Winston said to me, "Damn, look in, because he like the custom."
You want to go there all the time?
That's not like that. So he now watching one of the wives there, man. He say, "Yes, grinding the teeth." Robert, so he went to his room, and of course the wife had to think the one they said him is the oldest wife. Winston said she had no teacher. Oldest wife. That's the wife he get. No.
I guess you can't be upset with the custom.
No, he said he just had to go along with the custom.
At least she couldn't bite him.
What? Boy,
It was under consideration. She couldn't bite him.
Yeah. I just cracked up, and that's like many years ago, Robbie. Because we every time we meet, we'll have a little chat, and so he's always giving me one. But anyway, here's Ryan is saying here, Grenadian Joan Douglas runs her own school in Houston, the Houston International College. Bloody hell!
Joan Douglas?
Yeah. She runs her own school, the Houston International College.
Wow.
Ryan is killing himself laughing over the Eskimo joke.
Yeah.
But again, so many Grenadians, so many different parts of the world.
We do well.
Because you know that, Trevor Friday said this one to me, that a Grenadian is responsible for the whitening agent in toothpaste, in Colgate.
I know who that Canadian is.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's who Taylor's house in McDonald College got a name from.
That's the same Taylor guy who lives he lives down that Mount Rodney area.
Not Mount Rodney.
Yeah.
Well, he has a house in Bathway.
Our house down that way
If
too.
he has a house down that side, then it's probably him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's from Sally.
Yeah, I know him. That's Bruce Taylor's brother.
Who's Taylor's brother? Don, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's married and his wife is here.
Yes, that's the guy.
The whitening agent in toothpaste.
That's the guy.
See, we just need to know things.
That's
But
the guy.
there isn't there a Taylor brother who also worked at NASA?
I don't know. Never heard.
Yeah.
Never heard of it. Maybe that's the disadvantage of program that researching the successes of our Grenadian people, and looking at who do what where.
I need to get this thing working first. When I say this thing, there's an aspect of our YouTube thingy that is not working properly. It gives you an echo. So, for instance, I don't need you here, Robert. You're virtual.
Yeah.
You can be driving down to St. George's now, and you have the phone holder on your dashboard, and you hook it up, and I can have that conversation with you, and you would be able to present yourself on television with the face.
And that's fine.
Yeah, that is what. But my engineer is, oh my God.
What about last program we had one or two questions that were held over?
I'm saying I'm looking for the questions now, and I don't know.
Sir?
I can't. I've tried because I know I took them off and stored them on a Word document on desktop. And when you sent me your message saying that you were the door, I started looking for it instantly then, and I'm still to find it.
Yeah, I really wouldn't want to disappoint those persons,
Yeah.
given that we did commit to answer the questions today.
Still trying to find it, and I can't find it. But don't worry, they're not disappointed because they would have gotten a lot of information today, and I believe that a lot of people are thinking that, hold on, I need to start thinking a lot more seriously about insurance. Because this or something else can happen here.
You see, I tell you this, Andre. What insurance is a product in risk management. What do I mean by that? And I think I would have said so from the initial program. There's so much risks associated with our very existence. The risk that things may happen that could financially cripple us. So anything that you really can't afford to do without, or that you need to have replaced, you probably need to think of getting it insured. There's so much that we can do in terms of making sure that we protect our hard-earned dollars and our assets. Pass the risk on to somebody else, some other organization, who themselves make it a business to take risk. Because trust me, insurance companies don't do this thing because they love us. They do it because it's a business. They have, over the years, been able to crunch in numbers. They have been able to do their analyses and realize that we can make a profitable business from doing that. Now, so great. That's great, because it's a win-win situation for everybody. It takes the burden and the risk of loss from my shoulders and place it on shoulders that are way bigger and way more financially capable to deal with the loss. And they at the same time make a dollar. Everybody's happy. So the issue though is that some persons may find, and you heard those comments, especially just before Hurricane Ivan, when you speak to people, boy, I insured my house for 30 years now and nothing ever happened. I insured my house for 20 years now and nothing ever happened. And they take a calculator and they're calculating how much money they paid. And if I had that money in hand, look what I could have done and look what I could have done. And the truth is, if you're disciplined enough, and if, as you said, every year you take that money and put it in some interest-bearing account, and if nothing ever happened, and if you realize everything is based on if
tomorrow never comes.
But what if, as you build a house, it's a brand new house, and that's the year the hurricane chooses to come, or that's unfortunately the year of a fire, right? Or even if it's 20 years afterwards, that time now you have all kind of memories and so in your house and all kind of experiences. I remember how much Christmas Eve parties you used to have and how much Christmas Day lime is, and so there's so much more memories in the house. Now we can't replace all the photos of all those days and all that. We can't, unfortunately. But at least we could put you back in the position that you would have been prior to your loss, as opposed to you going down with your head, holding your head, saying, Lord, my house burned and I don't have a way. I mean, you see it on the news all the time, Andre. Persons' homes are engulfed in fire. They call at work and they heard this in the house on fire, and the next month they're making an appeal for assistance.
Yeah.
Why? Because they did not have insurance. Now, I didn't have, may not only be a factor of where they never really wanted to. Sometimes when they look at some of the situations, they never really could. And that is another issue in all by itself.
But for the never really could, if those who could were to magnify themselves, the never really could may be able to, because the price would go down. It's based on what you said earlier, correct?
Yes.
Okay. There is something that you need to know, Bobby. Your vehicle, and there's something that you need to know, based on something that Pat sent us in relation to the eruption this morning. We are looking at about 3/4 of Grenada receiving ash like we did on and heavier ash. The entire island of Barbados will receive ash. Of course, St. Vincent, the entire Grenadine Islands, which includes Carriacou and Petite Martinique, will be based on this computer model. All right. Maybe it looks as even as far as is that St. Lucia? Oh my God.
Well, that must have been a heavy explosion this morning.
Very heavy explosion. So they expect ash, and with me saying that now, let me add the other piece, which is, friends, You may not have wanted to do it for COVID, but for Soufriere, do it now. Wear that mask. Today you need to do so. If you don't have one, get one. Go and buy one. Or go by a partner in Grenville. And this is an amazing story, but I'll come to it in a minute. Go and get a mask today. Because more than 3/4 of the island will receive ash. I don't know how heavy, but it is forecast here. All right. No, I promised yesterday when I saw it that I'll give the brother kudos. There's a guy called Gary Mitchell. He's a Calypsonian.
Gary, I know Gary.
You know Gary very well.
Yeah.
He operates.
Waste in the stadium.
Yeah, waste in the stadium. Waste. Yeah. Gary. He operates one of those gaming things in Grenville. Do you know?
No, I didn't.
You probably need to go inside and speak to Gary about insurance.
Yeah.
You need to do that. Go and say, hey, we need to talk insurance. He's probably listening, killing himself.
Morning, Gary.
But I saw Gary yesterday morning, my way to the city, and I was talking to him, and there was somebody standing, a school child, standing in front of the gaming place. Some instant my thing is, well, what that child doing there? And just about to ask him, Gary said, what you want? And he said something I didn't hear. So Gary said, Andrew, coming back. And he went and he came back and he gave the child a mask. One of those, the blue ones. Gave the child a mask. And the child left. I said, what going on there? Are you a partner? He said, no. He said, I have masks. I buy them and I have them. And the children, I give them to the children. So when they don't have one, they pass by me for one. So that you pass, you don't have.
That's beautiful.
That is so sweet.
That's beautiful.
You know, if you're gonna gamble a couple of dollars today, go by Gary. He deserves it. No.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
The children he said they just come because they know he gives. So he always has to have. You know, and they come and he just gives them. Because I'm wondering what that child doing there. I'm like, so say, hey, that's what it is. And Gary, congratulations. You're talking about humanitarians, and Gary is doing a very, very, very good thing. No, you that big hard back kind of man. Don't go white guy for no mask. Leave it for the children.
Yeah, Gary's scope of concern is the kids.
They're the kids.
Yeah, yeah. That's his target audience.
But Robert,
and fine.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, that's fine.
You need to, however, I think it's important that you need to visit Gary.
And I'll go see him.
You need to visit Gary because I know he has a home. So you need to probably do some speak to insurance for the home. And you also probably need to speak to some insurance if something goes wrong with somebody inside of the business.
I never knew that he was even involved in that.
Yeah, see, right close to the bakery. So when you leave the police station, you make an immediate right. And then you come to that center street. I don't know what it's called.
I don't know streets. I'm not.
And then you make a right onto Ben Jones. I know that. I think that one is Ben Jones.
That one is Ben Jones.
I think that one is Ben Jones. Yeah, Ben Jones must have the biggest street. Ben Jones.
The only street I know in Grenville is Griffin Lane.
Well, I know there too because of what the parts place. Or because of wax.
No,
because of the mortuary.
Not even wax. Not even wax. But my friend who used to be a barber there, he was right at the corner of Griffin Lane.
Hold on, was that your friend or a family relative?
A friend.
From Blafflet, Parking?
Not Parking.
Wasn't there a guy who used to be there, Robert? Related to you?
No, I tell you, he was related to my uncle, my only brother.
What's his name?
Roderick.
No, there's another name, man, of another guy in Grenville. I don't know why I associated with Barber. Anyway.
No, the tailor man.
A tailor, what's his name?
Yadon.
Yadon! Didn't he used to operate somewhere around there?
Yadon used to operate in, not somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. Not in that exact building.
Yeah,
but Yadon was somewhere close to
there's
that
a tailor shop
area.
right there. There's a tailor shop right there, you know?
No, I don't think it was that tailor
That
shop.
tailor shop,
but it's
Yadon.
not far.
Where is
I
Yadon
think-
now?
Oh gosh, Andre, don't ask that question.
Canada somewhere?
Don't ask that question.
Okay, you don't know. Yadon, wherever you are, good morning.
Don't ask that question.
Oh no. Well, you're there, so you're transitioning right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. Sorry, but What were we talking about again?
You're talking about Gary.
Gary, right? Yeah. So Gary, hey man, all kudos.
Yeah, but that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Not even was, that is brilliant. Somebody had to look after our youngsters. And you know, the fact that they know that they can go by him and get it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That would work wonders for him as a businessman way down the road.
Yeah.
It may not necessarily be the blast.
No, it could be something else. It's not the blast. He's doing
not
another
blast.
thing. Yeah, blast is down the road from him. He's doing his own thing there.
But I tell you something. You know, children remember. Children remember. I want to say it again. Children remember. The
There's
good,
one other
the
thing.
bad, the ugly, the indifferent. Children remember.
And there's one other thing you need to say about children. They grow up.
And they grow up.
They grow up. Yes.
And they grow up.
And they don't forget. They don't forget. Here's something from Pat. Seems like they're saying it may go out to sea southward based on a wind pattern. So going out to sea southward? Or like we?
No, we south of St. Vincent.
We're not north of them, definitely.
No, that's correct.
Barbados is to the east.
St. Vincent is it northeast kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like northeast.
So
they're like northeast of us.
So yeah, we south of them. South somebody or them.
Here's where we need the Met people to tell us. But based on a model here, it looks like the ash is going to affect us severely. So as I said, mask up. Robert, speaking of mask up, we have to wrap up.
Yes.
We have to wrap up.
Yeah. And when we wrap up, I will get up.
But it was really nice.
Yeah, this you know, whenever I come to Real FM, it's a moment in time. The experience is always good. The conversation is even better. All right. I don't get a cup of something. I notice.
Blame Nabella.
All right. So, and she came in just on cue. All right. But it's all right. I wouldn't hold it against the institution. I think that they're just intended to give me all at one time. So when I come here one day, I drink about 7 cups.
No, you'll be given the difference now. You'll be able to have coffee or cappuccino or tea or glass of juice. That is what we work into us. We want to make everything available.
Drum roll. Drum roll.
Hey, before you go, what's the best innovation you've seen in theater?
Theater? In this particular period right now?
No, the best innovation that you've seen. Like something, like the scene is going down and something is missing on stage. But that thing has to get on stage so that the scene can continue properly. And somebody has to find an innovative way to bring it, to get it on stage. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I have seen that. I'm trying to remember now. So much I've seen in theater. I can tell you what happened to me. And maybe that is probably... I remember when we were doing Tija and his brothers. That was in 91 or 92 there. 92 I think it was. And I was playing the role of the devil. And I was in this bodysuit.
Not much difference now.
In this bodysuit with a tail. And the tail was, I don't remember who did the suit, but there was this wire inside the tail to keep it kind of up and so. And it looked good and worked well, but the tail was clipped on with fasteners. I think 5 or 6 fasteners hooking the tail to the actual rest of the suit. And in a moment of anger, because the devil at one point in time in the story had to get angry and chase away some of the creatures of the forest, frogs and firefly and those sort of thing, creatures of the forest. And the devil get vexed on stage and start swinging his arm left and right and knock on the tail.
Knock on the devil.
Knock on the tail unfastened. Now in real life, who knocks a tail off? Which animal you could see just knock off your tail?
Knock off your tail like happening.
So
That's soft devil.
So you can't You can't ignore it because then it's not realistic.
Yeah.
It will kill the illusion. So you can't ignore it. Neither could you
Stop
and
and
try
put it
to
back.
fasten it back because it will mash up the illusion now. So it's how do you bring that, interweave it into the story? And there it is of it. I almost crashed on stage. It's like, Lord, what am I doing with this? How I get out of this? And then I picked up the tail, but I kind of looked at the tail for a while, and the look of disgust all the time. I'm thinking, Robert, how you getting rid of that? but I kept the moment, which was important. I kept the moment and looked at it in disgust, and I said, in a broken, almost defenseless, spineless way, which was consistent with how the story had progressed to that point when the devil was chasing the creatures away. I said, look, even my tail has deserted me.
The bomb.
Listen, I could see Marisha House now. Marisha House just erupted. Right? It just
Even my
erupted.
tail has
Even my tail has deserted me.
But the one I saw was in Jamaica at the Littlest Theatre
Yeah.
in Jamaica. And Paul Campbell was in that.
Oh, Paul?
Paul Campbell.
Love
Paul
to see a
Campbell.
man on stage.
Yeah. And we sat and drank. Yeah. Yeah. We sat and had a couple with a Colt 45 on the table.
Yeah.
Based on where we were.
Okay.
He had that on the table. And the girl who did that character with Oliver. What's her name? Oliver.
Yeah, no, I know Oliver Samuels.
Matey.
Matey.
Yeah.
Oliver and Matey, yes.
Right. So I met them both. So we hung out about 2 or 3 times in Jamaica. But here's this. I don't remember the play, but they're going down and something that has to be on stage is not on stage. But the set is, all built and looking like it's made to think that it's an upstairs and downstairs house. So they're downstairs. And something that has to be there, Robert, is not there. And Paul realized that, oh, shucks, that is not here. And I could see him look around once or twice and realize, well, hold on, just like you in your mind, how do I get this thing on stage? And he said to the person, hold on, let me go upstairs to it. And somebody in the back, of course, who was listening, took that thing and he went upstairs and the person stood on the ground and you could barely see their hand handed to him upstairs the house. And he gets saying, I got it. But only if you understood, and because of my dealings with you and Heritage, only if you understood theater, you realize that no, that is something is missing and he needs to get that. And so I'm looking, so he said, let me go upstairs and see. I'm like, okay, fine, let me see what's going to take place.
Because that was his cue to let whoever it was know, you better have it up.
Anyway, Robbie, it was really nice talking to you. And Nabila, you want to say the final word first this morning? What is it going to be?
I actually came in to say happy birthday to my sister.
Yeah? Sharida?
Shadella.
Yeah, I saw that your mom sent it. I was going to do it anyway.
I know, but
Yeah,
I don't want to have my head.
Yeah,
So
that will kill you.
I came in.
I did see, but I waited until then to say.
Yes.
Bob, again, thanks. We on for next Tuesday, Saya? Oh, okay. We hope we can bring in Stan right there.
Yeah, we'll see.
And friends, thank you so very much. Ryan, thanks for the information. Yeah, Ryan, we coming to you one of these days. You better believe it. Grenada, Carrico, P. Martin, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. Thanks so much for listening to Real 91.9. St. Vincent, we are with you as always.
Triple N. Informative, entertaining, and first. Every hour on the hour.
This is the latest news update as produced by the Northern News Network. Details when we get back.
M&M Hardware